Die. Oh, that was a beaver. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Requiesca in pace. In pace, whatever. I feel bad about that, but... Sorry, beaver. I'm really sorry. Barrel. Okay, cool. I'm not really... Okay. Honestly, some people really trash talk the hunting portion of this game. It was a new setup. I at least appreciate certain games that try to at least stay diverse. Because honestly, if the Assassin's Creed... I mean, if Ubisoft itself ignored... I mean, tried to at least, you know, ignore anything new, something different. Honestly, I wouldn't be buying any more of the Assassin's Creed games. Because really, after the first one, I enjoyed the fighting mechanics. But if it just kept repeating the same thing from the first itself, I would just honestly get tired of the game. I mean, the series. And then straight up stop playing altogether. Oops, excuse me. Oh, this is where... Oh, yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I don't remember because previously we were at all the snow, and then where the snow goes, and now the snow's gone, and then the fuck. Alright, there's the soldiers here. Huh. I don't see why they would be considered enemies. Well, they will try to at least hurt you if you, do anything stupid. Broken trust. Of course, a father that would
be sharing what we know with the Lee, not Washington.
You seem to think I favor him, but my enemy is a notion,
Seriously.
not a nation. It is wrong to compel obedience, whether to the British Crown or the Templar Cross. And I hope in
Pretty
time
much.
the Loyalists will see this too, for they are also victims.
You oppose tyranny, injustice. These are just symptoms. Their true cause is human weakness. Why do you think I keep on trying to show you the error of your way?
You have said
Shut
much,
up.
yes, but you have shown me nothing.
Then we'll have
Touche.
to remedy that, then, won't we?
remedy that. What do you mean?
Sir,
Hello, Connor. What brings you here?
the British have recalled their men in Philadelphia. They march for New York.
Yes.
Very well. I'll move our forces to Monmouth. If we can rout them, we'll have finally turned the tide.
And what's this?
Private
Oh, of
correspondence.
course it is. Would you like to know what it says, Connor?
The hell?
Seems your good friend here has just ordered an attack on your village. Although attack
What?
might be putting it mildly. Well, tell him, Commander.
But
We've been
why?
receiving reports of Allied natives working with the British. I've asked my men to put a stop to it.
But
By burning their villages and salting the land, by calling for their extermination, according to this letter.
you
Not
son
the
of a
first
bitch.
time either. Tell them what you did 14 years ago.
That was another time. The 7 Years' War.
And so now you see what happens to this great man when under duress. He makes excuses, displaces blame, does a great many things, in fact, except take responsibility.
Enough!
Stop.
Who did what and why must wait. My people come first.
Then let's be off.
No. You and I are finished.
Son,
You
Don't-
think
don't
you're so
call him
soft
son.
That by calling me son, I might change my mind.
No.
How long do you sit on this information, or am I to believe you discovered it now? My mother's blood may stain another's hands, but Charles Lee is no
Charles
less
Lee.
a monster, and all he does by your command. A
So
warning
take
to you both.
responsibility.
Choose to follow me or oppose me, and I will kill you.
I can't say it's a promise of an assassin, because Connor basically bailed out of everything. I don't know what to say about this. Both Connor's father. Okay, I need at least... Main objective, do not touch the ground, okay. Logbook, inventory... Let me... Huh. No, it showed me something, so I was like, huh. Did not touch the ground. I gotcha, I gotcha. I'm sorry, it just keeps popping up. It's pissing me off. Boston. People. Individuals. George. See, it's hard to at least believe what's going on nowadays, because then you look at this. I know that, not that. Ezio Auditore. Wait, why the hell? Oh, yeah. Connor's master, Achilles, actually talked about him. Here's the name that you should recognize: George Washington, who would go on to be the leader of the army during the American Revolution and the first president of the United States. I was going to say probably know everything I'm going to tell you, but that would be a lie. What would you know is that George Washington has a lot of things named after him. Anything else you learned in school you forgot because you thought you'd never use it in real life. You should call your history teacher and tell her she was right all along. Oh shit, yeah, I should have. George Washington was the son of the planter of Virginia. He was raised with little education but ambitions, teaching himself mostly from books. Washington started in business early, speculating on the land, starting at the age of 18. He was 20. His older brother died, leaving him the heir of the plantation at Mount Vernon, where he lived until his death, and where you can still visit his grave today. Oh, that's nice. Washington got his military start during the French and Indian War, leading the expedition to Fort Duquesne, whatever. I can't pronounce it, I'm sorry. In 1754, a destination to never reached. Having surrendered at Fort Necessity, the next year, George Washington headed for Fort Duquesne. Yeah. I'm sorry that anyone gets annoyed by pronunciation-wise. I suck at it. The end. This time as the guide for Edward Bardock, the father of Goku. I mean, what? During the ill-fated Bardock expedition, Washington went as a volunteer, hoping that working for Bardock would get him a track to military promotion. Huzzah! Our first president was trying to at least gain some additional credits for himself. Wouldn't expect any less from a human being. Hoping that worked at Bardock to get him in track of military promotion. Through battle was a rout. Washington earned credit for organizing the retreat, and later year he made a call in charge of the Virginia militia. Washington completely revamped the militia with hopes under the organization and training that would be accepted to the British military. They never were. Washington resigned his post in 1758. I wouldn't say the snub. The snub led to his contempt for British, but snubs rarely help. By 1760, Washington had become active political life, taking on the role Virginia House of Burgesses. He went on to be a member of the Continental Congress, and when Winter War broke out in 1775, he was Congress's choice to be lead the army. At the time, Washington said, "I do not think of myself equal to the command I am honored with," which I'm sure inspired complete confidence in everyone who heard it. Imagine if you were on the airplane and the captain opened with that. Okay. That's not a positive thing, so, okay. It is possible Washington was being falsely modest, but the fact is that he wasn't a military genius. He knew it. Though I'm sure it hurts your American pride to hear me say that say he wasn't perfect. By the way, whoever's actually updating these are Sean. Sean, who, is a historian. So this is 100%, well, I'm not exactly sure on 100% accuracy. I know that this game itself keeps records of all historical events. If you actually look back to all the previous Assassin's Creed games, I don't know about the first one, but it does keep dates and time periods of certain historical figures and or legends. Washington had several narrow misses where the army could have easily been obliterated. in Manhattan and again at Brandywine, among others. Washington won an early victory. He broke the siege of Boston, but he made the disastrous move to fortify New York, a city he couldn't defend without a navy he didn't have. Even you can work that one out. He spent the later half of 1776 retreating across New York and New Jersey, losing battle after battle until Christmas. He pulled off a successful surprise attack and Henson troops at Trenton. While the battle makes for some famous paintings, and it did rally the flagging confidence of the public, it was a minor victory in the war. Too sure. Washington's lack of skill didn't go unremarked either. Charles Lee lost faith in him completely, never going quite so far as to disobey Washington's order, but not following them properly either. Then, in 1777 and 1778, Washington had defended himself against the Conway Cabal, which threatened to replace him with General Horatio Gates. I'm sorry. I'm trying to at least get this. I know this portion right here is boring, but I at least want to educate some of you kids. So, whenever you're actually trying to at least play Assassin's Creed, try to read the history, because you might actually get a legitimate A for your historical information given in some of these games. I know some people legitimately say video games are bad for you, but even if you actually look at all the Assassin's Creed games, it does keep historical facts. So if you want to go just like be snobby to your historian teacher, and if you get some interest in some figures themselves, like example, I actually respected George Washington to be the first American president, and of course, for his other supposed, I respect him for his stature. But then reading after this, you kind of have mixed emotions versus, what you have versus what's going on right now. Anyways, however, Washington's strength lay in politics, leading the army as much as about politics as it was about winning battles. Washington had negotiated between the varying interests of the army, the individual colonies, and Congress, and not just for the instructions on how to wage war, but also the basic supplies for the troops. By all accounts, he must have been extremely patient, trying to get politicians to give you anything. Anything is like trying to get a dog to give up a bone. Actually, my money would be on the dogs, who would occasionally listen to reason. Vice versa, if you actually honestly debate about things like this. I know that some people are gonna, if you guys do get bored of this portion, you can skip this part. But, it's just debatable, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, whatever criticism of Washington's military strength, the bottom line is that he won, eventually. When the revolution ended, he was an unanimous choice for president, a credit for the fact that he managed to both win the war and not alienate anyone in Congress. So in a way, you could at least say he was good at keeping balance between war and politics. He was the first one to at least to lead, and the first one to at least be considered the president. Of course, he has flaws. Well, so does everyone else. Huzzah! I'm glad that there's no such thing as a perfect person. If there was such a thing, honestly, I would be afraid to at least have something exist like that. Anyways, back to Sean being a dick, slightly into the whole information about George Washington. Of course, if you're looking for something to criticize Washington for, you don't have to look far. He ordered a total ruin of indigenous settlements during the Sylvan expedition. Not to mention he was a plantation owner, which means he owned more than 200 slaves. And while yes, he did provide for them being free, for being free, after both he and his wife were dead and wouldn't need them anymore, I don't really consider that a partial altruistic, whatever. If I'm wrong, sorry. Okay, so yes, he had 200 slaves, but George Washington did free them by the end of him and his wife's era. But I don't see anything legitimately, you know, like, oh, abuse or otherwise. He just seemed to at least take care of them. As, you know, Sean stated. That, you know, giving them freedom at least. Instead of like, oh, once we die, you all die with us. No. Oh, I'm ending on the, am I ending on a low note? Sorry, I'm here to teach you history, not soothe your sense of national pride. Fuck you, Sean, you dick. But, yeah. So, George Washington himself wasn't a perfect person. He owned 200 slaves, blah, 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 all this. Updated. It seems that the Templars were behind the burning of Connor's village. You can't thank George Washington. I mean, you can thank George Washington for that. I'm guessing part of Washington's military career didn't make it into your history books, but then so many things didn't. So you can at least tell that there's a lot of things that are hid from the truth of what we know as Americans ourselves. Huh? Colony. Huh. Some of these figures did legitimately exist. I can at least give that. I don't know about Connor. That might not have been a legitimate thing. I mean, you know, didn't legitimately exist, but that's just me.